The following is produced by 5-Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
Did you know that CFCs could be virtually eliminated in less than 5 years if the government demanded that existing alternatives be used? An additional ban on CFC spray cans would cut the gas by 25%. Hi, I'm Sean Mulhern. Join me this week on Today's Environment as we look at a number of companies that are making a difference.
Today, City Council
reducing air pollutants by 30%. Educational programs.
Using natural gas whenever possible as an alternative to burning fossil fuels cuts all three of the critical air pollutants, having carbon dioxide, the main greenhouse gas. On this next segment, we'll see how someone is doing their part.
The 3 R's of the environmental movement are reduce, reuse, and recycle. Consumers are being educated and are becoming more aware of the need to conserve our precious natural resources. New laws which mandate various recycling and conservation programs are being passed in many states. However, these laws can only be effective through the cooperation of citizens, industry, and others. In spite of all the efforts and good intentions, there is still a problem. We continue to waste tons of materials because of the old law of supply and demand. People can save recyclable items and put them out for curbside collection, but without competitive recovered material markets, the industry can only absorb those that can be sold profitably. The key, therefore, to any recycling program has to be not only the collection of material, but also making these materials back into products that consumers like to buy. Sunoco Products Company, based in Hartsville, South Carolina, has been very successful in this regard. This Fortune 500 company was founded in 1899 and has been making products from recycled materials for more than 80 years. With over 250 operations in the United States, Puerto Rico, and 21 foreign countries, they're one of the leading packaging companies for consumer and industrial markets. The company recovered about 2 billion pounds of paper and 16 million pounds of plastic annually. From these materials, the company produces a wide variety of containers and carriers. More than 90% of their products incorporate recycled materials, and many are made from 100% recovered materials. This amounts to about 2 billion pounds of paper and 16 million pounds of plastic recycled annually. Their composite containers are the packaging choice of many food and beverage producers, and are also familiar to consumers in many other household products. A variety of end and opening features allow the packaged products to be shook, poured, spooned, squeezed, or resealed. Sunoco's composite packages have an average of 50% recycled material content. The anti-water wick canister is another exciting innovation. It's impervious to internal and external moisture and can withstand freezing and thawing. This package is ideal for a frozen product like juice concentrate. And when products like powdered beverages and juice concentrates are packaged in composite containers, less material is used per ounce of beverage served. As a consumer, you can help reduce the amount of packaging being consumed by using concentrated or powdered products. Chips and other snack foods are kept fresh in canisters with peelable foil or paper membrane ends. And computer-aided design and state-of-the-art testing facilities are producing packages to meet the ever-changing market needs. Collection is just the first step in the recycling process. For recycling to be effective, you must have companies who continue to produce high-value products with the materials that are collected. Sunoco Products Company has been doing this for decades and is committed to finding new uses for your recycled materials.
Are you thinking of disposing of potentially hazardous waste? Don't. If you cannot use up the product, think of someone who can, a school, a neighbor, youth group, or church. Now here's a company that has found a way to be environmentally responsible.
25 years ago, most school children didn't even know the meaning of the word environment. Today, things are different. Many children can recite the 3 R's of environmental awareness: reduce, reuse, and recycle. They all know that by doing these things, we can conserve our ever-dwindling supply of natural resources as fossil fuels and raw materials. But just as important, the 3 R's can help solve another environmental problem: waste disposal. As consumers, we all generate household garbage. There's no getting away from that. But the most important element is what happens to it after we put it out by the curb. One viable option is trash-to-energy systems. They offer a safe and cost-effective way to not only dispose of the garbage, but to recycle it into needed electrical power. Wheelabrator Environmental Systems Incorporated owns and operates more than a dozen of these state-of-the-art facilities nationwide. This plant in Pompano Beach, Florida, is one of 2 built and operated by Wheelabrator under a full-service contract with Broward County. Opened in 1991, this trash-to-energy facility is capable of processing 2,250 tons of refuse daily and converting it into enough electricity to power 60,000 homes. Upon receipt, the trash is received on the tipping room floor. Negative pressure in the room prevents odors from escaping. After recyclables are taken out, the trash is inspected to make sure that it only includes municipal trash. Medical waste, construction debris, and radioactive materials are not permitted. It is then pushed into the pit. Overhead cranes move the trash to the hopper, which feeds the boiler. Reciprocating grates in the combustion chamber agitate the material to assure complete burning at a temperature of 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Because the plant was built with a tall chamber, the resulting gases are held in the high temperature zone for a longer period of time than they would be in a shorter chamber. The gases then pass through a dry scrubber where they're filtered and cleansed. A fabric filter, which acts like a giant vacuum cleaner, performs a final cleaning of the flue gases before they enter the stack. When released to the open air, the gases are cleaner than the emissions from fossil-fueled power plants. The control room is 95% automated, with every function constantly regulated. Most important, the flue gases are continuously monitored to determine how well the organic particles are being removed from the air. Heat from the process produces superheated steam, which is used to drive a 67.5 megawatt turbine generator. All this energy is produced from a renewable fuel. This power is sold to the local utility company to supplement South Florida's growing demand for electricity. Ash from the process is currently being placed in a modern lined landfill, but it promises to have beneficial uses as an aggregate in paving material. And although the system can accept bottles and cans, communities pre-sort these recyclables before delivery to the plant. Wheelabrator Environmental Services Incorporated, a WMX Technologies company, is committed to advancing waste management technology and is working to improve the quality of our environment.
Of the 300 pesticides legally used on our food, 60% are used only to make it look good. Many are known to cause cancer. Support organically grown food and see if it's available in your area. Now let's take a look at another way to help protect the environment.
There has been a lot of interest recently in businesses that have grown out of America's increased environmental sensitivity. One company in Pennsylvania combines the benefits of recycling and the elimination of enormous amounts of waste each year, and the only byproducts are water, carbon dioxide, and table salt. Every day, Americans unknowingly cause tons of waste to be produced simply by consuming the products of daily life. Whether it's in our home furnishings and automobiles, or even the food and beverages we enjoy, waste byproducts are generated. What happens to this waste? How is it controlled? An amazing filter media which removes these wastes is activated carbon. Because of its multitude of tiny pores, 1 pound of this remarkable product has 125 acres of surface area on which to adsorb contaminants. Most commonly made by heating coal to extreme temperatures, this versatile product has the ability to attract and retain organic contaminants. Applications for activated carbon include chemical and food processing, potable water filtration, odor control, and groundwater remediation. One typical application is in gasoline vapor recovery. At gasoline terminals such as this one, activated carbon filters prevent thousands of tons of vapor from escaping into the atmosphere each year. Once the pores become saturated, carbon can no longer adsorb additional vapor and becomes ineffective. This spent carbon can be extracted from the filter for reactivation and continued use in serving the environment. Based in Swickley, Pennsylvania, Envirotrol Incorporated is a full-service activated carbon company. Every day, their tankers roll into the company's plants in Darlington and Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, from all over the United States, delivering loads from a wide variety of sources. The carbon is usually shipped in containers or bulk pneumatic trailers for easy transport and storage. The technique used to reactivate carbon is much like the process used to activate it originally. The carbon is fed into a long rotary kiln where it is gradually heated from room temperature to between 1600 and 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. High temperature, combined with steam, burns away virtually all of the contaminants in the pores of the spent material, reactivating it. Scrubbers remove any remaining waste not consumed by the reactivation process. As the energy required for reactivation is much less than the energy needed to create virgin material, customers save from 1/3 to 1/2 in costs. Envirotrol has 7 separate furnace lines. Their segregated processing creates a closed loop which guarantees customers the return of the same carbon. After reactivation, it's screened for size and returned to the customer. 2 plants handle some 15 million pounds of carbon a year, making it the 2nd largest supplier in the U.S. As part of its services, Envirotrol supplies the adsorption equipment. These devices range in size from portable drums to multiple units capable of holding 20,000 pounds of material. The company also sells commercial grades of virgin carbon. Manufactured from select grades of bituminous coal, the material is capable of multiple reactivations. From wastewater to tap water, from vapor recovery to chemical purification, Envirotrol is helping clean up America in a high-quality, economical, and environmentally sensitive manner.
Rainforests are known to contain 50% of all living things, but at the present rate, they'll be gone by the middle of the next century. See what you can do to protect this dwindling resource. The following is another company having a positive impact.
What do these impressive structures have in common? Each of them was constructed using a product that is highly beneficial to the environment. It's lightweight aggregate, which is used to replace heavier stone in the making of structural concrete, concrete block, and other construction materials. An 8-inch conventional concrete block is 50% heavier than a block of the same size made from lightweight aggregate, and the lightweight product is equally as strong. More important to the environment, concrete and concrete block made from this aggregate have greater insulating properties than conventional concrete masonry, which means less energy is needed to heat and cool the structure, reducing the amount of fossil fuels burned and helping to reduce oil imports and conserve our natural resources. And because concrete products made with lightweight aggregate are lighter in weight, more can be transported at one time, conserving even more fossil fuel. One of the leading manufacturers of lightweight aggregate, Solite Corporation, based in Richmond, Virginia, adds further benefits to the environment during the manufacturing process. Production of the aggregate begins with the mining of selected deposits of shale, clay, or slate. At the plant, which is located close to the quarry site, the raw material, in this case shale, is crushed and fed into a large rotary kiln which operates around the clock. Here, in 2,200 degree Fahrenheit heat, the shale expands and becomes almost molten. The intense heat also causes thousands of tiny air cells to be formed throughout the rock, which make it lighter in weight and gives it insulating qualities. As further aid to the environment, fuel used in the kiln has been processed from ignitable hazardous wastes, which otherwise would have been incinerated or very possibly disposed of illegally. Using recycled fuel saves coal and oil, conserving the nation's natural resources and other energy alternatives. And using waste as fuel in place of coal and oil rather than incinerating it reduces pollution by eliminating an emission source. Since 1972, over 200 million gallons of waste have been burned as fuel in Solite's kilns, saving approximately 150 million gallons of oil, or almost 1 million tons of coal. The recycled fuel originates at industrial and commercial facilities and includes liquid burnable materials that are used every day, such as paint, ink, waste oils, and solvents. Oldover, a subsidiary of Solite, carefully selects, transports, and stores the wastes in compliance with numerous state and federal permits. The waste is tested and analyzed to ensure that it's in compliance with all permits that it can be safely used as fuel. The wastes are destroyed in the kilns under conditions exceeding the 99.99% destruction and removal efficiency that's required by the EPA. To maintain clean air, a dry collection bag filter system operates like a giant vacuum cleaner, collecting more than 99% of the rock dust produced when making lightweight aggregate. The dust particles are recycled back into the production process. There's no water discharge, no waste, and minimal emissions. The entire burning process is stringently regulated by U.S. EPA regulations that apply to industrial furnaces using recycled waste fuel. Aside from producing an environmentally beneficial product, through vision, innovation, and ingenuity, Solite and Oldover are two companies that are providing solutions to potential problems in a dedicated effort to protect the environment.
By the end of 1993, it is estimated that more than half of U.S. cities will have exhausted their current landfill space. 80% of all trash being thrown away is recyclable. Let's get active right now, before it's too late. And let's take a look at a company with another solution.
Some scientists believe an amazing 99% of all plant and animal species to ever exist on Earth are extinct. While most of the species died of natural causes, the fact that mankind has played a role in this destruction cannot be overlooked. During the last century, scientists and world leaders have led efforts to conserve the world's natural resources and protect endangered species. New demands are being placed on everyone, from individuals to major corporations. A worldwide effort is on to save our resources. From fast food companies to utility companies, corporations are working harder than ever to make up for lost time. Commercial fishermen have taken full advantage of a bountiful sea, a sea that's inhabitants are diminishing too rapidly to reproduce. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Americans eat over 20 pounds of seafood per person each year. The Central Power and Light Company, a subsidiary of Central and Southwest Corporation, is helping to replenish some of the declining supply of marine life. The utility donated land, water, and fish stock to create the Vaughn Hatchery in Corpus Christi. Since the hatchery opened in 1982, it's supplied nearly 10 million young redfish every year to restock the state's coastal bays. The fish are producing at 3 times their normal rate. This is due to a simulated season cycle process, which convinces them weather and light conditions are just right to multiply. Spawning occurs in circular tanks. The eggs are taken from the surface and moved to incubation tanks where they hatch in about 24 hours. The newly hatched fish are transferred to an outside rearing pond, and in just 30 days, they're ready to take the big plunge into a Texas bay. Researchers aren't stopping here. They're looking for new ways to restock our waterways with snook, tarpon, and even speckled trout. Some land-loving students in Owasso have teamed up with Public Service of Oklahoma, another Central and Southwest company, to preserve one of America's prized species, the barn owl. 6 barn owl houses were built in 6 different locations around Oklahoma. The Owasso High School Science Club built, designed, and installed them after studying the barn owl closely for many years. They found that barn owls do not build their own nests. When barns aren't available, the owls will search out a hole or cavity on a cliff or a cave. With help from the shop teacher, art department, and a special discount from the local hardware store, construction began. These 4-foot by 4-foot nesting houses stand about 6 feet above the ground on utility poles supplied and installed by Public Service of Oklahoma. The poles are equipped with predator guards to keep raccoons, snakes, and possums away. Every attention to detail was taken. The roofs are covered with felt and asphalt shingles and will have a 1-foot overhang around the entire structure. The houses are expected to be standing 40 years from now. This is another example of people working together with the help of local companies to save our wildlife. This is the leftover trash that isn't making it to the recycle bin, but it won't be heading to a landfill. Instead, it's going to a power plant to generate energy. Of all the garbage disposed of in the United States, only 17% of it is estimated to be recycled. Old clothing, curtain rods, broken toys, and ceramic dishes still wind up in landfills. The growing mounds of trash were causing major problems for the state of Massachusetts and one of its major tourist areas, Cape Cod. Mounds of garbage filled with potentially harmful chemicals and metals were going to unlined landfills that were threatening Cape Cod's water supply. Now, the waste which is not recycled is being diverted from landfills and processed to recover metals, make construction materials, and even create fuel to generate energy. The Energy Answers Corporation's CMAS Resource Recovery Facility accepts over 1,800 tons of municipal solid waste every day. Over 75% of it is used to generate energy, which supplies 50,000 area homes with electricity. And each day, approximately 90 tons of metal are recycled and about 140 tons of a gravel-like substance is recovered, some of which is made into construction materials. Construction is currently underway to increase the capacity of waste processing from 1,800 to 2,700 tons per day. When the garbage arrives at the plant, workers inspect it to remove materials that aren't suitable for processing. It is shredded, then passed under a magnet to remove about 60% of the metals contained in the waste. This produces less ash during the burning process and creates a more efficient fuel. The processed waste is conveyed to the boilers. There it's burned to produce steam, which drives plant turbines and generates electricity. For each ton of trash that is burned, over 70 gallons of fuel oil or 650 pounds of coal are saved. The emissions from the plant are closely monitored and cleaned through an air pollution control system. The contaminants that are removed from combustion gases in the form of fly ash are chemically and physically stabilized. The amount of fly ash produced makes up less than 4% of the initial volume of waste. Until an acceptable use for it is developed, it is landfilled. The heavier bottom ash is collected in the boilers and conveyed to the ash processing plant. The granular ash produced with this shred and burn system can be nearly 100% recycled. Magnetic separation removes the remaining iron-bearing metals, which are later marketed. Metals such as aluminum, brass, and copper are also removed and recycled. Glass, ceramic chips, and other non-combustible materials help make up the boiler aggregate, which can be used as a replacement for gravel and crushed stone used in construction applications. This saves natural resources while also saving landfill space. A solid waste management program relies on recovery of our resources and minimal disposal. Waste is a resource. It can generate energy, make new products and construction materials, and it can stay out of landfills when we utilize all of our resources to their fullest.
The problems we have with our environment and our planet may seem overwhelming, but as we have just seen, there are many people already making a difference. Are you? As Gandhi once said, whatever you do may seem insignificant, but it is important that you do it. I'm Sean Mulhern. Join us again next time as we explore more ways to make a difference on today's environment.
If you know of any interesting environmental success stories, call us at 407-997-9800. This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA. The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.